Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Psychedelic Art Exchange YouTube channel. We're finally back to talk about some selections from a fresh batch of 50 lots. They're all amazing, and they're in our April Collectors Showcase auction. We would show you all 50 if we could, because they're just that good, but I promise you don't want to hear us talk for that long. So we're just going to take a look at a handful of those today. And Toki's back and acting like he didn't get trapped behind a cabinet this morning. So you're in good hands.
Cat shenanigans. Anyhow, yeah, this sale is loaded. This is one of the finest sales we've had, at least in recent memory. And one of the reasons that makes it so powerful is that there's some amazing cardboard pieces. This is an opportunity, if you want to enter the world of cardboard posters, which far rarer than any of the paper stuff. This material really, hasn't survived and wasn't collected or even thought about. But it's a subset of poster collecting, but it's one of the most powerful. It's frustrating because not a lot of it comes up, and if you become hooked on it, it's hard to find, because there's examples that only exist in the quantity of one or five. Anyhow, we've talked about globe posters in the past from Baltimore, Maryland. There were several other cardboard posters that show up in our rock and roll world. Murray posters from New York, I believe, which printed this Dylan poster. Colby posters, Tillman Press, which was in Oakland, and several others. But this was the way advertising was done. It was cheap advertising, and it was treated as such. But anyhow, enough about that. Let's talk about Dylan in 65, a Dylan cardboard from 65. How much more needs to be said? This was shortly after Newport, or not that long after, and he was doing his Troubadour set and doing his Rockified Electric set, which he got a mixed reaction from the folk purists back in the day. But again, Dylan is one of the most important artists of the 20th century, maybe the greatest songwriter of the 20th century, I dare say, but argue with me. And yeah, I mean, War Memorial Syracuse, this poster has been fixed, but we find that a lot in cardboard. These come in all kinds of condition, ranges, as you'll be able to see soon. And these posters have been fixed. And yeah, for eye appeal, it's much better, especially if there's extensive damage. So this is one area where, restoration, if done correctly, it can be helpful with a piece.
Yeah. I do not want to undersell this poster and how rare it is. This is really one to watch.
Yeah, this is, again, this just falls right at that period. And, Dylan posters, again, like they don't show up that often. There's not, it's hard to build a Dylan collection. Some of the stuff's starting to come out. And some of it has had more tepid results than I thought. But a piece like this, it's just, there are not many. And it's just, classic image, wonderful piece. Awesome. This really is the number one lot in the auction for a reason. Mm-hmm. But and we could talk about Dylan all day long, but we have to move on to another favorite on cardboard, Jimi Hendrix. And this is from 69 and Charlotte, North Carolina. Interestingly, a lot of these posters seem to come from Charlotte. There must have been an original mad collector there at one point that preserved this stuff. But regardless, Jimmy, this is the David Byrd design. This was used for a couple different posters. Again, it's missing a little bit of information, but it's a pretty solid piece, and it's a gorgeous design, and it's Jimmy, so it's Jimmy.
Yeah,
in
I know.
60.
Whenever we're like picking out our top posters for the week, I've noticed just because I've been paying closer attention over the last few auctions, it's always Jimi Hendrix. You
Well,
can't go wrong.
well, not only that, it really, as this market has developed, there has been a change, and a lot of the top bids have been going to the most, I guess, relatively important acts. Yeah, Hendrix, the Stones, Beatles, Zeppelin, Floyd, and the Grateful Dead just keep going and going and going. They are sort of driving a lot of this market at this point in time, just because their imagery was, they did so many posters and the imagery is so good and varied, and so many great artists did work for the Grateful Dead. It's, it really is what's keeping this hobby going. And so anyhow,
Yeah.
Jimmy, anyhow, more cardboard. Let's talk about, and cardboard is really rock and roll, and early rock and roll, and this piece I think geeks me out more than any of them, because it's a 50s Fats Domino. It's a tour blank, I guess, or
It's a tour blank. Not sure of even the exact year because that's how rare it is.
well, again, so if you want to talk about the Mount Rushmore of rock and roll, it's a big argument, but Fats Domino was, in the mix very early. The Fat Man was 1952. A lot of people like to use Rocket 88 as a reference point to the first rock and roll record. And again, up for debate, but that was 1951. And then, Maybelline was 55, Rollover Beethoven, Chuck Berry, 56, and Tutti Frutti was 56. You throw in whatever, Elvis with Mystery Train at 55. This is 3 years earlier than this. This really is the very beginning of rock and roll. And he's so wonderful. His voice, and he was so beloved, and he was so important to New Orleans. I had a friend that was down in New Orleans when he died, and he said that the second line for Fats Domino was just like the whole town. It was the most amazing thing he'd ever seen. So yeah, this is rock and roll.
Look at that classic poster too. It's just such a good design.
That and yeah, this would look great in any like really curated collection,
in a museum. Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
Anyhow, moving along to another, brilliant artist, and another Globe poster from Baltimore, Maryland, which, made the best rock posters of this genre as far as I'm concerned.
And another one from Charlotte, which is interesting.
Yeah, this is a thing. There's a lot from Charlotte, and I never thought of it as a major, but I guess there's so many concerts that went through there, and there must have been a collector or something that made all these posters come from Charlotte.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Such a great image, photograph. She was like, she was really prolific. I think she was like 13 albums deep or something at this point, which is incredible. Yeah. And this was, for whatever reason, a standout show that people remember and have talked about since. And yeah, it's a Globe poster. It looks amazing. It's got all of the posters, have some level of damage, but
this one's an original. This one's all there and in original condition, and this is a real great poster. It's, I'm salivating over all of these because this kind of stuff, this probably the only time that we'll be able to offer this, unless it comes back through another time.
Yeah, most likely. And there's not a lot of Aretha Franklin posters that pop up in general. So there you go. And now another Globe poster. And this one I'm going to try to hold, because as you can see, the bottom's gone. And besides that, it's a great poster.
this is an Allman Brothers 1970, which is the sweet spot for Allman Brothers collectors. This is a show that didn't happen, but it's still, the Allman Brothers. Yeah, the event. I think the whole festival was canceled because they couldn't get insurance coverage or whatever. But I'm reasonably certain that this is the only copy of that. I know that we sometimes say that's speculating, but I'm almost, as certain as I can be. If anyone else has one, it would be great, because if anyone wants to fix this poster, they would need to be able to recreate all the ticket information at the bottom. So if you do have that, or there's a picture or anything out there, if anyone knows about this poster in any kind of way, shape, or form, please let us know.
Yeah. It's so cool. I love the purple and the yellow. It's great.
It's good. It's good colors. And I've talked to Globe collectors and they haven't seen this. And again, I don't want to, it's hanging on by a thread. So
so we're gonna put it down and not
yes. Forgive us for
create.
I don't want it to. All right, so that's the cardboard poster discussion. We have some paper in here as well, and this is a great poster in my opinion. Again, it's seen, it's well loved, but what a great image. This is the New Orleans Pop Festival. Was, I guess, that the same year, 69, where all these pop festivals were going on. And
it was 2 weeks after Woodstock. And it's this is like an OP2. There were a couple different original printings, and it's very, like, there's a very common reprint from 89 for like the 20th anniversary. But this one's original. It's great. I love it. It's a lot of the same artists that played Woodstock, just like right after.
And the typeset, the lettering's so good, and the imagery is, funky and cool.
I like it.
Yeah, this is a good one. And did the Dead play? Yeah, I mean, it's a Grateful Dead poster. All right, so yeah, this is a Grateful Dead poster. Also, what? Janice. Yes.
Yeah.
I will not try to read the posters while I'm doing this. That's not a good habit. Anyhow.
No.
That's not good. Anyhow, and our talk about this sale wouldn't be complete if we didn't at least throw in one graded piece. And this is Grateful Dead, Michigan, 71, Gary Grimshaw. One of his signed. Yeah. And and it's whimsical and cartoony and beautiful, and I love this. And it's not in bad condition. There's like one little crack in on this side. It's hard for me to see without my glasses, but I think there's like a little crack in the surface. 9.0 is a respectable grade, and this is a top Grateful Dead poster. So anyhow, that's
perfect way to end the video, as always.
Well, yeah. Always we have to touch all bases, right?
Yeah, we got it all. And these are all available for you to bid on in the April Collector Showcase auction. That's going to run until Sunday, April 19th at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Time.
And they're all available for you to own if you can hang in there.
Yeah. It's it could be yours. It could be in your home before you know it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please feel free to comment. Let us know if there's anything we got wrong or we got right. And please subscribe to the channel. We try to put these out roughly once every auction, depending on what we've got going on. And all of the links to the auctions and everything are in the description. We'll see you back here real soon. Thank you.
Thanks again, folks.